Good morning, everybody. My name is Bailey Cooper, and I would like to welcome everybody to Eric Lofholm's daily 15-minute motivational call, which is better than a cup of coffee. And today, on January 13th, Friday the 13th, I'd like to talk to you guys about a topic called Change Your Habits, Change Your Life. And I'm going through sort of an interesting change in my life in that my wife is working full-time. And now I'm responsible for getting the kids ready in the morning and taking them to preschool and then picking them up. And then on Fridays, I have them all to myself. So it's been a very interesting challenge of stepping up to the plate these last several weeks and fitting in this role. As some of you know, I had a career change recently, and so this topic is something that's been very important to me because this is what I'm actually doing right now, and also this is what I'm focused on doing with my children, is instilling in them good habits so that when they grow up and their subconscious mind controls them and directs them, that they'll have the right road to success. Have you ever wondered why you may look the way you look from birth, or maybe why you get annoyed at the same idiosyncrasies that your parents or grandparents got annoyed at? Have you ever wondered why you keep getting the same results over and over and over again in your life, regardless of what you were selling or what you're doing? Maybe the same mediocre results or the same excellent results. Have you ever wondered why people maybe with a wealth of knowledge, of education, or a degree, or even multiple degrees at some of the most prestigious universities are not doing very well? Or why maybe others who have not even graduated college or even seen the inside of a university have tremendous success in life and make millions of dollars a year, or just extremely happy and abundant, not necessarily financially, but in what they're doing? Have you ever asked yourself these questions? I have. And today what I want to try and do is open your mind to finding out the answers to these questions. Find out why. Because it's just as much different for everyone as it is the same for everyone. It's a series of unconscious paradigms or patterns that are ingrained in our lives, that we're taught without even knowing it. And we were never given the book of life, the book on how to change these patterns. We may not have even known that they were there. But this is pretty deep stuff. I'm not educated in psychology. I did a semester of college. So I don't want to insult your intelligence. What I really want to do is just kind of share my story and my experiences, and how I've been able to master this. And just as our universe is governed by irrefutable laws, so is our conscious and subconscious mind. Our human genetic characteristics, our behavior patterns, how our great-great-great-grandparents believed, acted, behaved, as well as what they ate, where they lived, and what they did for a living, deeply impacted your DNA and actually who you are today unconsciously, whether you know it or not. Now, much of this can be changed, but it may take several dedicated months and maybe even years to redirect your RAS, or your reticular activating system, to reprogram yourself to be who you desire to be. So the purpose of my message today is just to help you identify these paradigms, uncover your subconscious negative beliefs that were given to you not by your own doing, but by your environment growing up, your ancestors, and just identify them. because it's impossible to change these patterns without first identifying them, and it's not necessarily something that can be done overnight. And then I want to give you guys a resource, somebody that can help work you through this. One of Eric's trainers that is really adept at this. And, through the years, I've studied some of the greatest thinkers, and they really influenced me. I remember when I was in high school, I was 18, and The Secret came out, and I was really inspired by Bob Proctor. And shortly after that, The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. And through Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, Wayne Dyer, these minds have helped me to identify these patterns in my own life and break that pattern. And a little bit about my story. I was adopted at birth. My mother and father couldn't have kids, so they adopted my sister, and then 2 years later, from another family, they adopted me. And so I don't know very much about my ancestry. I know that my father was Italian, and my mother was a heroin addict school teacher. And they put me up for adoption, and my parents paid for her to go to treatment, and then she had me. And that's all I know about my family's past. So this topic is very important to me because I don't know very much about that. And the way that I was raised and what I believe and who I am today was influenced by my environment. And, there's a really powerful book that I've read twice, recently last year and then first when I was 19. It's called Power versus Force by Dr. David R. Hawkins. And if you haven't read this book is an absolute monster. It teaches you the hidden deterrents of human behavior, and it scales the consciousness of humans on Earth from lowest consciousness to the greatest consciousness, Buddha, Jesus. So I would highly recommend this book. Now, here's some success stories. Over the last 12 years, many of you probably don't know this because I'm very cautious of who I tell this to, but I've been active in service within 12-step fellowships and programs. And this has absolutely molded who I am today. It's changed my life for the better. Now, the birth of these 12-step fellowships, which actually, has thousands of different programs today, but before they began, there was this group that was called the Oxford Group, and it was a religious movement. They would get people to, to sign a pledge that they wouldn't drink, and they would go to church, and they had these 6 steps, but they didn't have a very high success rate. And before them, there was these Washingtonians, and it was kind of the same thing, and it was basically people telling people that didn't have a drinking problem that went to church, trying to help people with drinking problems. And in 1934, this struggling stockbroker, Bill Wilson, you may have heard of him, he had this tragic drinking problem, and he went to the world's smartest mind, psychologist Dr. Carl Jung. And Dr. Jung told Bill Wilson that he was utterly hopeless. But there was one very rare exception that he knew of, that he may encounter what psychologist William James defined as a religious experience. And but he said apart from divine intervention, he was screwed. But, he gave him a referral, and so he took that little glimmer of hope, and at Towns Hospital, he found the hope through an accident. And that accident was really simple. They didn't have much at the time, but Bill went to the Oxford groups, and what he discovered was a really simple formula. And he needed to share his hopeless experience with another person that had the same problem. Let him know that he understood it and that his problem was removed, and that, the God of his understanding or his higher power removed that obsession to act on his destructive behavior through taking personal inventory, cleaning up the wreckage of his past, and altruistically giving of himself to help others without expecting anything in return. That was the formula, and that's how 12-step fellowships were formed. And, you know, through the last 12 years, I've had the privilege to work with hundreds of men suffering from destructive behavior patterns, and seeing, you know, dozens and dozens of them solve that problem and make it through the other side. And the gist of it is steps 1 through 3 teaches somebody how to trust God. Steps 4 through 9 helps you take personal inventory and clean up the wreckage of your past. And steps 10, 11, and 12 is designed to help you redirect that and help others. They say you can't keep it unless you give it away. And so to change your habits and to change your life, it's an everyday thing. You know, it's chop wood, tote water, put one foot in front of the other, take things one day at a time. All these cliches are all designed to help you reprogram this subconscious mind that you're acting on. And maybe you had a tragic experience in your life as a young child, and maybe you had you know, parents that weren't the best parents. I highly encourage anybody, you know, please reach out to me. If you're looking for a 12-step fellowship for any problem that you may be going through, I'm more than happy to help you find somebody in your area that can help you. But the main thing here is you can't do this alone, and don't try and, you know, master this alone. It's a really tough challenge, and you may need to go to a psychologist or somebody that's trained in this. We have a really excellent trainer who's helped me a ton. And if you guys don't know Keith Allen Weedman, he is one of Eric's top protege. He's an Eric Laughlin trainer, and he has a company called Level 3 by Design. And the way that his company is geared is he'll give you a free strategy session, and he'll show you how his program can help you change these patterns and behaviors in your life. And it's not like an overnight click the switch thing. He teaches you step by step how to implement strategies to change your life and your business. So I highly recommend Keith. If you say that Bailey referred you, he'd be happy to give you a discount. So there's my plug-in for Keith. If you want a warm introduction to him, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you out with that. This is a really deep topic that I want to spend a little bit more time on. So next week I want to tell you some techniques and strategies that I've incorporated through the years to change my destructive behavior patterns and how to implement positive ones. One story that I'll share with you guys, it's a beautiful one. 5.5 years ago, I was really unhappy. Actually, 6 years ago, I was unhappy in a long-term relationship that I was in, and you know, I didn't know how to find quote unquote the one. And so what I did is I inventoried exactly to the T who I wanted, what, you know, habits she had, and, you know, if we were going to be compatible. I got a carbon copy image of who she was going to be, and I prayed about it, and I knew that without divine intervention I was screwed. So I realized that my picker was broken, and I let God pick for me, basically. And so I became really open to it, and over a cigar, my wife and I fell in love. You know, we were hanging out with mutual friends. We were smoking a cigar together, and then we went out to dinner, and it was an amazing experience where she was in the exact same place, and she had identified me on paper without knowing it, and I had identified her. So this is kind of one thing that I changed my habit and my approach. I followed some suggestions, and I wrote on a piece of paper my ideal for her, and we do this once a year, and this helps keep our marriage fresh and pure, and Same thing with your business. You can identify. Eric just did the 2017 planning class. I highly encourage everybody to either go back through those recorded seminars that he did for us, or if you haven't, to do it. I believe you can still sign up for it and go back through it. And what he can do is he can walk you through step by step how to create your compelling future with goals, strategies, ideas. And this really helped me shape my 2017. And it all begins with today. And you can't beat yourself up. So have this mentality. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. So you guys go out there and create your own luck on today, Friday the 13th. And I wish you guys a fabulous weekend. And I will talk to you guys next Friday. Take care. Bye.